Good morning, students. In this E-class of BND Government Arts College, Chimanpura, we would take up for discussion Girish Karnad's play Tughlaq. Indian English literature is growing, it's flourishing. Indian English literature, we all know, is used to denote the original literary creation in the English language by Indians. Girish Karnad, he wrote in Kannada and then he translated his own works into English. Therefore, we take him into the category of an Indian playwright as well as an Indian English playwright. Tughlaq is one of his most famous plays. Girish Karnad is the foremost playwright of modern India. Born in 1938 and he passed away last year in 1919, Girish Karnad has been prolific in various fields. The play Tughlaq, published in Kannada in 1964, is Girish Karnad's second play. The first play that he wrote was Yayati. The play is set during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the Sultan of Delhi, and it is about the last 5 years of the reign of Tughlaq. The entire play is an episode from history, but Karnad's treatment of the theme is not entirely historical, and that accounts for the fame of the play. Tughlaq was an immediate success on the stage. It was first produced in Kannada in 1965 and simultaneously was performed in Hindi in National School of Drama. When Girish Karnad started writing, he was being told that there are no good plays in Indian English writings, and therefore he thought of writing one. As the title of the play suggests, the play is about Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the ruler of Delhi in the 14th century. He was a visionary and an idealist, a crafty political figure, and in spite of being so intelligent and such a scholar, because of all these odds, his reign fell into pieces within 20 years. And in history, he is also known as Mad Tughlaq. Tughlaq's idealism, scholarship, religious tolerance, and his feeling of Hindu-Muslim unity makes him a very notable character in history. Of all the sultans who had hitherto occupied the throne of Delhi, he was the most learned and he was the most accomplished. He was a versatile genius, lover of fine arts, cultured scholar, accomplished poet, and he was quite well versed in logic, astronomy, philosophy, mathematics, and physical sciences. But still then, because of the odds in his character, because of the contradictions in his character, he is not understood and he is not accepted, or his policies, they were full of contradictions. This is the aspect that Girish Karnad depicts in his play. Tughlaq is a historical play dealing with the last 5 years of the troubled reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The action of the play takes place first of all in Delhi in the early 1327, and then on the road from Delhi to Daulatabad, and then after 5 years from Daulatabad, means in the fort of Daulatabad, and planning to come back to Delhi. So Tughlaq is a play, and the character as it has been dramatized in the play has an enormous depth and has an enormous range. The play is divided into 13 scenes and its canvas is a crowded one. Sultan Muhammad means Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he is the central character, but around him and his court there are a crowd of characters. There are also the comic characters which have become very famous and like Azam and Aziz, and the other characters who fill up the canvas are all complementing the play. Although the theme of the play is from history, Karnad's treatment of the theme is not historical. So, by enacting the play and while writing the play, Girish Karnad, when he decided to write this play, he himself tells us, I quote, "And when I came to Tughlaq, I said, oh, marvelous. That is what I wanted. In those days, existentialism was very much in the air. To be considered mad was very much fashionable. Everything about Tughlaq seemed to fit into what I had read was the correct thing to do, which was to be mad and to do impossible things and so on. So I started reading about Tughlaq. But as I started reading about Tughlaq, I suddenly realized what a fantastic character I had hit upon." Unquote. So Karnad, while creating this play, has created a sort of a classic in Indian English writing. The play, although it deals with history, but then the characterization which it depicts, the intrigues, the language, the symbols, the idioms and the phrases which constitute the play, the plot, characters, setting, style, language, they all contribute to create the marvelous effect of the play. The play Tughlaq is divided into 13 scenes and the canvas is a crowded one. The central character of the play is Muhammad bin Tughlaq and round him are a crowd of characters. The play was written in the conventions of Company Natak and the scenes were divided between deep scenes and shallow scenes. The deep scenes were for the serious play and serious part of the play, and the shallow scenes were kept for comedy. While the set change for a play's garden room was going on, it had the comic scenes. Tughlaq deals with the last 5 years of the rule of Tughlaq. The action of the play begins in Delhi in 1327. Then it shifts to the road from Delhi to Daulatabad and lastly around the fort of Daulatabad 5 years later. The play begins with the announcement of the idols of Tughlaq, who proclaims to be impartial and just as a ruler, be it a Hindu or a Muslim, rich or the poor. But when we listen to the conversations of the crowd, it is revealed that both Hindus and Muslims, they are dissatisfied and they doubt the intentions of the king. The whole plot is structured in these opposites: the idol and the ruler, real. People criticize the announcement of the king to shift the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Although people doubt that Tughlaq killed his father and his brother to acquire the throne, means it was not an accident, but Tughlaq's stepmother, she has deep concern and fondness for Tughlaq. We are introduced to Sheikh Imamuddin, who resembles Tughlaq and who speaks publicly against Tughlaq. And we are told that he is such a great orator that people gather in large number to listen to him. The intrigues and craftiness of Tughlaq begins to unfold in the play. Sheikh Imamuddin and rebellious Ain Mulk, who one time was a friend of Tughlaq, but Tughlaq When he feared the power of Ain Mulk growing, he shifted him from Awadh. And we are being shown that how Sheikh Imamuddin and rebellious Ain Mulk, they are both treacherously killed. Killed, of course, by Tughlaq. The rebellion against Tughlaq intensifies when Sheikh, Amirs and Sayyids, they together brew a plot and, led by Shihabuddin, conspires to murder Tughlaq during prayer time. But Shihabuddin's stepbrother Ratan Singh informs Tughlaq, and Tughlaq masterminds the plot to arrest Amirs and inhumanly kills Shihabuddin. We are also shown that Nazib and Barani, both they are the close associates of the king, and Tughlaq, he confides to Nazib, Barani and stepmother. Now these three are the close associates of Tughlaq. Rebellion become quite common, and while dealing with them, Tughlaq become revengeful, frustrated and cruel. The capital is shifted from Delhi, which is a Muslim populated state, to Daulatabad, the Hindu populated one, in order to weaken the Muslims, the strength of Muslims. This exodus or this shifting results in death and disaster of countless people. The stepmother blames Nazib for misguiding Tughlaq and gets him killed. In turn, Tughlaq sentences the stepmother to death. Barani also leaves Tughlaq, and Tughlaq is shown to be left alone, sleepless, disillusioned, and is on the brink of madness in spite of being such a scholar, philosopher, visionary and an idealist. Along with the plot, we have the subplot. The comic subplot related to Aziz and Azam runs parallel to the main plot. Aziz, being the more intelligent of the two, is a parody of the main plot. Means the subplot of Aziz and Azam is a parody of the main plot, and it is full of irony and satire aimed at Sultan and his policies. Aziz is the one who takes the maximum benefit out of all the policies of Tughlaq, and he points out towards the loopholes in each and every policy of Tughlaq. Characterization is the very soul of drama, and Tughlaq abounds with the characters who complement beautifully the canvas of the play. The central character, of course, is Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the emperor, and round him the other characters, they move. We have his stepmother, who appears to be a close associate of Tughlaq, and she is fond and she is concerned about Tughlaq. Then we have Aziz and Azam, the comic characters. Aziz is a shrewd man who deceives Tughlaq, and he takes maximum benefit, maximum profit out of the policies of Tughlaq. We have Nazib, who is an advisor and confidant of Tughlaq, Barani, who is an historian, Sheikh Imamuddin, who is a critic of Tughlaq's act, and he is a very good orator, and he has a large following of people. He gets treacherously killed along with Tughlaq's friend Ain Mulk. Shihabuddin, who along with his brother Ratan Singh, they conspire against king, and in turn Shihabuddin gets brutally murdered. Ain Mulk was an old friend of Tughlaq and later turned into enemy. And then we have the crowd of characters and old women and other people who are part of the crowd, and they reflect now and then the outlook about Tughlaq's ideals and Tughlaq's policies. The entire play deals with the last 5 years of the troubled reigns of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Tughlaq is a historical play dealing with the last 5 years of the troubled rule of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. When Karnad started writing, he was told by someone that there are no good history plays in India. So he decided to write one, and the character which most appealed to him was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. While writing a historical play, there seems to be a contradiction because history requires truth. It requires the rendering of the events truthfully, while art requires imagination. So, this Tughlaq, he has mingled truth and imagination to create the dramatic effectiveness of the play. As regards Tughlaq's idealism, scholarship, visionary temperament, zeal for innovation, his religious tolerance, and his generosity, Girish Karnad closely follows historical sources. And he employs historical evidences in the play when he is actually telling about the shifting of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, from Daulatabad to Delhi, then the introduction of copper currency. He has actually derived the events from history. But while describing the exodus from Delhi to Daulatabad, he has introduced imaginary characters, Aziz and Azam. They are the imaginary characters which fits into the play and which reflects the contradictions, or which clearly bring out the contradiction of Tughlaq's characters and his policies. So the alteration of the historical facts that he has done is for the dramatic effectiveness of the play. Although the play is about Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who was a ruler in the 14th century, but the readers, they found a parallelism between the reign of Tughlaq and the contemporary history. The play was published in 1964, and the readers thought that it actually reflected the mood of frustration, and it corresponded well with the disillusionment that was there in the end of the Nehruvian era. So the play for them reflected the chaos, disillusionment and corruption that followed the Nehruvian period. Although Girish Karnad said that I did not consciously write about Nehru era, I am always flattered when people tell me that it was about Nehru era, and equally applies to development of politics since then. U.R. Anantmurthy, the critic, says that another reason for Tughlaq's appeal to Indian audiences is that it is a play of 60s and reflects no other play perhaps does the political mood of disillusionment which followed the Nehru era of idealism in the country. Unquote. So the entire play, it can be taken up as a comment upon the various power struggles that exist in all times, and the difference between the ideals and realities, and how government schemes or how welfare schemes or how schemes which are meant for general people, they are utilized, or means of very few people who are crafty, who are cunning, who are manipulative. They just get maximum benefit out of those schemes, and poor people, they are always suffering. Girish Karnad has made excellent use of symbols in the play. The play itself is a symbol of the political situations of Nehruvian idealism. Aziz and Azam are the symbols of unprincipled, crafty, clever and opportunistic people who exploit all the government schemes, welfare schemes for their own benefits. The chess game in which Tughlaq is engaged symbolizes the manipulation of Tughlaq to win over his political rivals. The prayer symbols means as it is shown in the play, the strictness to pray and stopping to pray, and then the reintroduction of prayers is the very basis of the play. The python, like long passage to the fort of Daulatabad and reference to the bird of prey, symbolizes the brutality and degeneration of Tughlaq and spiritual agony of Sultan. Girish Karnad is one of the outstanding dramatists in modern Indian English drama. Born in 1938, when he passed away last year in 2019, it was a big loss to the Indian English writing. He is basically an Indian writer writing in Kannada, and when he translated his works into English, they actually brought forth Indian English drama to a very dignified level. Tughlaq became an immediate success on stage. The play, it has an intricate plot, it has a scope for spectacle, and the dramatic conventions it uses contribute to the fame of the play. So whether it is its plot, whether it is the characters, whether it is the setting, the style, and the language, the diction, the dialogue, all of them together contribute to making this play a classic of Indian English literature. Girish Karnad has shown great skill in using Indian myths, Indian history, and Indian settings in his play. And in this sense, he is truly an Indian English playwright. He has vividly created the atmosphere of the time relating to Muhammad bin Tughlaq in creating the religious bigotry, rebellion, barbarity, and the contradictions which make up Tughlaq's character, and why these contradictions, why because of these contradictions in history he has been termed up as Mad Tughlaq. He has also used both verbal and dramatic ironies very skillfully in the play. And although it is a historical play, while we read the play, we actually move along with the characters, and even dealing with the dull, drab history, it provides a sort of enjoyment, a sort of engagement while reading the play.